The market clearly needs some consolidation. As I said before, 150 airlines competing globally. In fact, it is clearly too much. And while there are high exit barriers in the airline industry holding back the necessary restructuring process, that does not mean that we should help EU carriers by subsidizing them. I appreciate that national governments have concerns to maintain jobs and connectivity. But as with any commercial operation, an airline is responsible for its own business.
EU aviation, European aviation value chain is not working together in a sense, is not planning strategy together, is not dealing with the competitiveness at the global scale together. We have a very sliced salami approach where airports, ANSPs, airlines are looking very much after their own interests, and I think bottom line is that we may all lose vis-à-vis growing competition from the outside. Is that something we can carry on for a long time? I have my very sincere questions about that.
We need to follow the business, not business follow you. So we need to look at the East. We need to do more business with Africa. We need to do more business on the Far East also. We're saying it's better to follow the sun before sunrise. It's better to follow them before sunset.
Historically, Europe has had a strong research and innovation agenda as far as air traffic management is concerned, and it is a world-recognized leader from an ATM research point of view. But this must continue. We cannot take it for granted forever. We need to continue prevent being overtaken by developing economies and increasing our global footprint from this point of view.
We need to continue to install all the efficiency mechanisms that we have defined in the regulatory framework in Europe, and we need to continue to evolve this regulatory framework very quickly.
There is a huge cost today associated with the fragmentation of ATM in Europe. We will have to develop and to deploy this new CESAR infrastructure. We should not miss this opportunity to adopt a much more integrated approach, and this is why Eurocontrol has proposed the centralized services approach.
Appropriate regulation, access to airspace, and access to necessary skills. If I take each of those in turn, what we mean by appropriate regulation is policy that recognizes that the one-size-fits-all principle simply just doesn't work in our sector. What we need is not more regulation, just more proportionate regulation, appropriate to the subject that is being regulated.
IACA urges the legislators, the regulators, to improve the airline's competitive environment. And it will start by fixing the European single sky and by regulating airports.
The main problem to be solved in civil aviation at EU level for the workers, it is what we call the social dumping. And I will give you a short definition about social dumping. It is a practice designed to take advantage of competition between workers from different regions or sectors. Cheaper salary, the use, abuse, of agency temporary workers, subcontracting, bogus self-employment, offshoring, and so on.
Il faut vraiment tenir compte du caractère mondial de l'aviation. Quand on travaille sur l'ETS, quand on travaille sur les droits des passagers, quand on travaille sur la sûreté, quand on travaille sur les créneaux, voilà, l'Europe est un grand continent, est une force politique majeure, mais pour demeurer au centre du jeu, il faut que nous montrions que nous sommes en capacité de dialogue en permanence avec les autres, et donc nous avons besoin d'une articulation, et évidemment nous avons besoin d'avoir des règles qui ne soient pas systématiquement plus dures que celles des autres régions.
If the decade behind us was about adding capacity, the one before us is best understood as being about efficiency, reliability, predictability, while improving safety and mitigating environmental impacts. In this second century of aviation, collaboration and integration have never been more important or essential to our success, along with new definitions of what constitutes the infrastructure of the future and increasing the partners we engage in the planning.
there is a big role for the Commission, because that was one of the questions I had. Should we actually regulate anything? Is there a role for a Commission? Or should I say to the next Transport Commissioner, forget about it, let's concentrate on rail? Well, I take away that, yes, there is appetite, yes, there are challenges, and yes, Commission should be more aggressive. Thank you.
Nobody questioned that the value chain approach is the right one. And we should insist altogether that there are elements that put the value chain as a whole thing in the center of our debate, and it has to be sustainable, all value chain, because if we take some pieces out of it, the whole thing will collapse.
I don't think there's a single issue which we have successfully launched on the European scene, which has not first been road tested, debated, pummeled, toasted, cooked here in the European Economic and Social Committee. So I really want to thank you for that.